Hello, Sarah with Life with Training Wheels here for your Monday, October 6th, full moon in Aries astrology horoscope. If you're new here, thank you so much for finding me and checking me out. If you are returning, thank you so much for coming back. I really do appreciate all the love and support you give me. Go ahead. I have been trying to do daily forecast updates for you. So if that is something that you are looking for, make sure to hit the like and subscribe button so I will come up in your feed. Otherwise, let's go ahead and just dive right into it. So we have on Monday the 6th of October, a full moon in Aries. So first I like to, before we look at the chart, I like simply breaking down what full moons are. So full moons are when the sun is opposing the moon in the sky. So full moons are a time of balance because oppositions are where we are being asked to look at balance in our lives. And it's also a time of, like at the new moon, we should have planted some new seeds of intention, started some new goals. Full moons are a time of harvest, basically, of taking a moment to give thanks for what is coming to fruition from the goals and everything that we have been working towards, as well as a time for reflection of that balance and of looking at if any weeds or things that aren't serving us have been growing alongside or getting us distracted from what we are trying to do and trying to accomplish. And it is highlighting those things so that we can weed it out and continue on our goals in a better fashion, more organized fashion. So it's highlighting, it's a time of gratitude as well as a time of highlighting those areas where we might need to focus a little bit more, weed some things out, let some things go so that we can remain focused on our path. So then a full moon in Aries. Aries is the sign of self. It's the words for it are I am. So it is the sign where it's also the first sign of the zodiac. So it's a sign of new beginnings. It is where we are courageous and bold and can make impulsive actions and impulsive decisions. It's where we get things started. It is that. So the full moon is going to be highlighting those aspects of yourself, and wherever this is at 14 degrees of Aries. So wherever 14 degrees of Aries falls in your personal natal chart, your birth chart, is where you're going to be feeling this energy the most. What area of life you're going to be feeling this the most. So that is kind of where we start. Now I'm going to put the chart on the screen and we're going to kind of go through it step by step. I like to build these things layer by layer to help you better understand why I'm saying the things that I'm saying, and to just give you a visual basis for what we're looking at and dealing with. Okay, so here we have the chart, and the first thing that really stands out is that, so here's, I'll highlight it first. Here's the full moon in Aries, which is in opposition to the sun over here in Libra. So the first thing I'd like to point out is that the full moon and the sun, neither one are making any aspects to anything else. So this is kind of a full moon standing on its own. It's not really talking to any other planets. So it really is, in that sense, kind of highlighting the the way I'm feeling is it's the simplicity of giving us the simplicity of really focusing on this axis without getting muddled by anything else of the self and the other, which I think is a lot of what we need in our society and in our world right now, right? Is what are our values? What are the things that we stand on? Where do we stand on business, and where do we have our ideas, our truth, our, learning how to see that, as well as balancing out, how we interact with others. Do we allow others to have their own set of beliefs? Do we try to understand others, or do we only try to be understood? There needs to be a balance of both, and I think that's something where our society overall struggles right now, right? That's why we've had Chiron in here for so long, is because we have been, struggling with this. I just lost my train of thought. This is why we've had Chiron here for so long, is because we really have been working on that wound of not feeling like you are good enough to be seen or heard or things of that nature. And we're really working on healing that within ourselves. But in order to feel like we can be seen and heard, we also have to consider whether we are willing to see and hear others, right? Because if we're not willing to see and hear others and meet them where they're at, why would they give us the same type of understanding and grace? So I think this is a time when we are really being asked to look at those types of things and look at how we engage with others and look at if we are being fair, as well as Aries is the warrior. So this is asking us to look at the things that we are willing to stand up and fight for, right? Aries is that warrior spirit, that fighter. So what are we willing to stand up for? But with the sun focused in Libra, where also can we find balance and justice? And what types of justice are we willing to fight for, right? There's so many injustices in the world. Libra is about that fairness, that the fairness, the accountability, the justice. So where are we willing to fight for the injustices that have been happening in the world, and how can we bring fairness and justice to those areas where things have been unfair? So the other thing to consider is back in March of this year, so at the beginning of the year, we had a solar eclipse at 9 degrees of Aries. So this full moon would be the culmination of, and the things coming to fruition from that solar eclipse in Aries back in March. So looking back to see what types of things have happened since then, what has manifested for you, and what types of things, might you need to address to keep you moving forward in the right direction of whatever came up for you, if anything, at that solar eclipse. So that's another key point, is this is related to the eclipse energy that we had at the beginning of the year. That was the solar eclipse. This is the full moon. So it is, the culmination of that 6-month new moon, full moon cycle. So just a couple more things to look at. Number one, since there's nothing really going on, the next thing we would want to do is to look to see what the ruler of this new moon is doing. So the ruler of Aries is Mars. So we'd look to see where Mars is. Mars is at 10 degrees of Scorpio. And Mars is at home in Scorpio. It is the traditional ruler of Scorpio. The modern ruler is Pluto, but the traditional ruler is of Scorpio is Mars. So Mars is in a comfortable position. It is the ruler of this full moon, as well as being in its traditional rulership of its other sign. So this is where we may be feeling really powerful with this full moon, because Mars is kind of about our willpower, our warrior spirit, right? So we could really be looking at the things that we're willing to fight for. That could be really deep. But also Scorpio is the sign of transformation. It's the sign of fears. It's the sign of going into the darkness, going into the shadows and shedding light on them. It's the sign of like the researcher and wanting to find the truth. So we could be very much motivated to find the truth of relationships, the truth of what we are willing to fight for and why, the truth of wanting to bring justice. We could also be, facing a lot of fears about what happens when we stand up for ourselves, what happens when we have our voice heard, right? There's a lot of people in the world right now that are afraid to have their voice heard, afraid to speak, things of that nature. There's a lot of places where we need to have justice. So finding the truth of why justice isn't being served in the way that perhaps we think it should. This is also about intimacy, right? So it's taking this, Mars in Mercury is taking this like energy of wanting to have things balanced, wanting things to be fair, wanting to not only hear people, but also to be heard, and really getting intimate with it, right? And I believe the level of intimacy that you are able to have with others really correlates with the level of intimacy that you are able to have with yourself, right? And a lot of times we're afraid to look at the fears we have. We're afraid to look at the things where we might feel shame and guilt and things like that. And that's what Scorpio is about shining a light on those things so that we can bring love and healing to them and transform them into something that is going to make us greater, right? Because once we heal those areas of shame and guilt and give ourselves forgiveness and love and acceptance for all those areas, once we look at our fears head on and realize that maybe they're holding us back in some capacity or something along those lines, then we are able to extend that same type of compassion and grace and hold space for other people to do the same types of things and be able to witness other people and hold space for them, like I said. And that's really where true healing comes, is being able to go into the depths of Scorpio, shine light, shine love, shine compassion, both on ourselves and others, to bring forth this amazing transformation. And so with Mars in Scorpio here, we're able to bring that level of intimacy, that level of uncovering the truth, that level of shining a light on darkness so that it can be balanced and healed and things like that. Bringing that intensity to this balance that we're trying to maintain between self and others. So that's that. But then if we look at what else is going on, not only exact on October 6th, but just overall at this full moon, is Mercury moves into Scorpio on this day. Okay, so with this Mercury being at 0 degrees of Scorpio, I feel like this is, at this full moon, there is a potential for brand new information to come online. Brand new truths that we have not seen before, to come out of the shadows, and be seen and be dealt with. So this could be a day where there is a lot of new information about things coming to the world stage. It is also just highlighting in general that this at this time, this full moon, we are being asked to, Mars is giving us the willpower to go into these depths and these shadows, and Mercury is giving us the information. And potentially when Mercury goes into Scorpio too, I often think that this is, Scorpio is a water sign, and it's very connected to like intuition and psychic abilities and things like that. So when Mercury, the planet of our mind and communication, I feel like for a lot of individuals, perhaps there are more psychic abilities or just a lot more intuitive hits coming online, as well as I would like to say that this is an indication to really trust your intuition at this point, right? With the North Node and Pisces overall, we're being asked to trust our intuition more in general. But right now, with Mercury going into Scorpio at this full moon, I really think that you need to pay attention on October 6th to any intuitive hits or downloads that you are receiving, and maybe, write them down. Mercury is very much about journaling and writing things down, and that could be a great exercise to do overall at this full moon, is to do some journaling. Do some journaling about what fears, about these Scorpio things. What fears do you have in relationships? What fears do you have about being seen? Maybe using this Mercury and Scorpio energy to really get honest with yourself. And the more honest, like I said, you can be with yourself, the more honest you can be with others. And, I truly, like I've said, think that that is a way that we are going to heal the world, is just being able to see people. I think a lot of where we struggle is we are unable to see people, because when people have different ideas than us, differing values, different belief systems, we kind of instinctively take it as an attack on us, right? Because our ideas, our beliefs, everything are attached to our ego. So we feel like our ego and our identity and our I am is being threatened. And so maybe we look at some of those fears and kind of figure out, number one, how we can hold space better for other people so that they can do the same for us, how we can hold better space for ourselves and be willing to look at our own fears and things like that. And then I lost my train of thought. And in turn, the more we learn to love and accept ourselves, perhaps the more we can learn to love and accept others and heal this wound over here. So that's my thoughts with that. And then the other thing I'd just like to point out is, that we still have this mini grand trine very active, very on point, continuing to point us to this new beginning in Aries, right? Continuing to look at who it is we want to become, what we want to see in the world, and continuing to have that at the have that as the backdrop of all this maybe internal investigation and everything that we're doing at this full moon as well. Like having our hopes and dreams for the future, our fears, maybe looking at our fears for the future as well and addressing those and figuring out how we can build the future that we want, both externally and internally, right? Like how we can potentially act from our own personal actions to create the world that we want, and how we can change and let go, right? Scorpio in the transformation is about letting go. Full moons is also about letting go. So what areas of ourself do we need to let go of in order to move forward with the new identity that we are trying to figure out how to create and what we really want it to be and look like. So that is the full moon. Let me just look here and see if there's anything else I want to talk about. I think the only other thing I want to bring into this discussion is talking about Mercury and its rulership. So Mercury rules Gemini and Virgo. So this new information that's coming in for us to really dive deep on, to find the truth of the matter, to look at fears related to this information, could potentially be coming from either the Gemini areas or the Virgo areas within your own chart or within the world. So this could be, Gemini is also communication, it's choices, it's a lot of options, it is information overall. So maybe there's news coming to us regarding social media, or maybe we're getting news through social media in a particular way, or Uranus in Gemini is kind of that shock and awe and the disruptive energy and things coming to us suddenly as well. This is also sudden sparks of intuition and things like that. So it could just be that things are coming like really quickly, really like sudden information, something coming out of the blue that we weren't expecting. That could be, and it could be related to, Gemini is also related to like short distance travel. So it could be news coming out about like the auto industry, or it's also an air sign. So perhaps the air travel industry, something along those lines is where some of this new information could be coming through. It could, or truths being uncovered, or it could be coming from the more Virgo areas. So like we could be seeing things, maybe truths uncovered, which we have been seeing a lot of lately in regards to healthcare. Virgo rules healthcare, it rules the service and hospitality industries. Gemini over here also rules the auto industry. So we could be hearing news about those types of industries. On a more personal level, with Venus here coming off of the conjunction it had a couple days ago to the South Node, maybe this is getting information about relationships or something like that perhaps you are meant to let go of, or things of that nature. So I think that is all I want to say about this full moon. leave me a comment and let me know how this resonated with you, and stay tuned because I will be going through very quickly how this will show up for each of the rising signs. Okay, so for Aries and Aries rising, this full moon is happening in your first house of self and identity. And so you're looking at this axis of relationships, right? Kind of like we talked about in the overview, and new information and drive. You know, it's the Scorpio themes of intimacy, of shared resources. There could be information coming up about shared resources, or just transformational energy within yourself, or, you know, holding space for another person perhaps as well. And some of this new information or ideas or communication could be coming through your third house, Gemini, which could be, you know, related to social media, how we communicate, just the types of being more aware of the types of information that we are consuming, being aware of the thoughts, the news that we are consuming, and if that's really beneficial to us. Third house also deals with siblings, so maybe there's something that comes into your awareness during this full moon about your siblings. Or Virgo is your health, so maybe, you know, with Venus here, maybe your value systems around your health have changed. Maybe your value systems, Virgo, is also like our day-to-day routines and work and our service to others. So maybe you're changing your value system around your work, or there could be news coming about your work. There could be news related to your relationships as well, or your finances, right? Because both of these houses kind of deal with finances, right? Shared resources, and Venus is our money. So there could be information coming to you in those areas during this full moon. But really, you are being asked to, you know, heavily focus on this area of Aries as well, and kind of going deep, being willing to be intimate with yourself and your fears and everything like that. Taurus, sun, moon, and rising. So this full moon is happening in your 12th house of self-sabotaging behaviors, unconscious beliefs, subconscious beliefs, rest. So the axis that you're being asked to kind of balance out here is this axis of rest and health, right? Like the daily habits and routines, and how much we're working, how much we're doing, and are we allowing rest? This is also like addictions and things like that maybe we need to let go of. Just being willing to look at those things. So the axis of health is really being highlighted for you there. Are you taking time to rest? And then as well as this can be, you know, the 12th house is like our spirituality and things like that. Like, do you need to take time to meditate more, or anything like that? And then, you know, you're also the Scorpio axis, so your relationship axis is also being heavily activated. You're having the willpower to really, you know, dive in to look at how your relationships impact your overall well-being, and if there's any self-sabotaging behaviors there. And then Mercury is new information coming to you, new communication happening in your relationship sector, your 7th house. So that could be exciting, and it could be coming from this information could potentially be coming from second house areas of values and finances, or your fifth house of creativity, romance, children. So, and then with Venus here, also an additional, Venus rules our relationships and finances. So, it could be something coming up in regards to your finances in your relationship, something like that. There could be news coming to light, or information coming to light, or just conversations that need to happen surrounding that. So that is what's happening for you. Gemini, Sun, Moon, and Rising. This full moon is happening in your 11th house of friends, social networks, hopes and dreams, things like that. And it is asking you to balance this axis of your 5th house, 11th house. 5th house is all about you and your creativity and your joy and your passion. 11th house is how do you bring that out into the world to make a difference. So as well as friend groups, and like, do they align with you? Do they support you? So those are things that you might be looking at. And then Scorpio, with the ruler of this full moon being in Scorpio and Mercury moving into Scorpio this day, this is also highlighted. And this is your 6th house of health, habits, and routines. So you may be asked to address those things. This is also, the house of work, service to others. So those things could be coming online. Maybe there's groups you belong to that are related to your work. And then information in this house of health, habits, and routines, information may be coming online, either, insights that you are having, because Gemini is you, so that's the house of self. So you could be initiating conversations at your work, or initiating new ideas, new thought processes, new communication in your work, in your habits and daily routines, or in your 4th house of home and family. So those could be where, maybe some new ideas about your home, how you can better organize your time at home to have better routines and things like that may be coming up for you. Okay, Cancer, Sun, Moon, and Rising. This full moon is happening in your 10th house of work and public image, career and public image. So you're being asked to, look at the balance of this axis between home and work. It's always a tricky one for most people, I think. Really highlighting how you engage with your work, what might be out of balance there. And then, with the ruler of this being in your 5th house of entrepreneurship, creativity, romance, joy, children, there could be something going on in that area as well. New information coming in. And how does your children, your creativity, your joy, your passion, how is that related to your career and your public image? Is it aligned the way you want it to be? Those types of things and questions might be coming up for you. And some of this may be coming from realizing that you have some subconscious thought patterns or belief systems that maybe no longer serve you, that have been driving how you feel about your career or your romance and your creativity and your joy. or it could be information coming from your third house of just communication in general, siblings perhaps. There could be something coming up regarding siblings, short distance travel. This is also, like how we engage with social media and just the types of information that we consume and how we communicate our ideas out into the world as well. So that could be coming up. There could be new information coming from those areas that affect your perhaps entrepreneurial goals or your romantic partners, your children, things of that nature. Leo, sun, moon, and rising. This full moon is happening in your 9th house of your of travel, of ideas, belief systems, higher education. And you're being asked to balance and look at this 3rd house, 9th house axis. So this is where, as they relate to each other, this is where where you gather your information, and this is where you make meaning of it, and develop your belief systems. So you're being asked to look at your belief systems, perhaps where they come from. This is also the axis of short distance travel, long distance travel. So you might be looking at traveling. There might be some traveling going on during this full moon. Let's see. And then with the ruler of this full moon being in Scorpio in your 4th house of home and family, there could be, perhaps you're doing traveling with your family, or perhaps you are moving, or there's, maybe there's new information that's coming through during this full moon that affects your home and family life, perhaps your property, your ancestry, maybe there's some new information about your ancestors or your growing up or something that's coming to the surface to be dealt with. That is a possibility. Some of this information could also come from your friends, any social groups that you belong to, just what's going on in the collective, or your 2nd house of finances could be, this could be where some information is coming from. Venus, maybe there's something coming up with regarding a romantic partner, or, relationships, or something like that, and how it affects, or finances and regarding how it affects your home life, and maybe, that's feeding into your belief systems as well. So that could be things that are coming up for you and how it's showing up for you. Virgo, sun, moon, and rising. This is happening in your 8th house. This full moon is happening in your 8th house of shared resources, intimacy, things like that. So this could be really a good time to look at not only your finances, right? The 8th, 2nd house is looking at balancing finances, kind of yours versus where you share with others. So there could be a heavy focus on finances during this full moon, but there could also, since this is 8th house and the full moon is where our attention is being guided toward, perhaps there is really a focus on diving into your fears, diving into your guilt, shame, diving into your own shadow in order to shine light on it and send healing and love to it and compassion and self-acceptance, so that you can do the same for others as well. And with the ruler of this full moon being in your 3rd house of communication, maybe this is stuff that you want to talk about. Maybe Maybe this is stuff coming up regarding siblings as well. Third house can represent siblings. Third house can also have something to do with our our daily travel and things like that. So maybe there's, some financial matters regarding vehicles or traveling or something along those lines. Maybe new information coming in regarding that. New information regarding our traveling and just third house is how we consume information, to how we communicate information. So maybe there's things coming into your awareness stemming from your house of career and public reputation, or from, just within yourself, because Mercury also rules you. So that, and maybe you're really looking at how you engage with social media, how you engage with communicating, and third house is also commerce too. So maybe there's new information about, launching a product or something like that will boost your finances, something along those lines. Okay, so then we have Libra, sun, moon, and rising. This full moon is happening in your 7th house of relationships. So this is really highlighting the relationship axis for you and the balance there. But the focus is on your relationship side of this more so than yourself. So looking at how you do engage in your relationships. What are you putting into them? What are you getting out of them? Is it balanced? Those types of things are really being highlighted, as well as with Mars being the ruler of this full moon. Your 2nd house of finances and your value system is really being highlighted. So, maybe in your relationships, you're really looking at how either finances or your value system is showing up in there. Do you feel you're being valued? Are you valuing your partner? Those types of things might be at the forefront of this. There could be new information coming into you, or new communication or new thoughts or ideas coming in regards to your value system. And they could be stemming from your 9th house, your belief system overall, or, potentially there's some traveling that you need to do that's, or you're, that might be pulling some finances away, or that you need to save for, or something like that is coming into your awareness. Or perhaps there's things coming into your awareness from your 12th house, which is where you hold a lot of subconscious thought patterns, subconscious belief systems. Maybe things are coming to the surface about your value system and well, does this really fit me anymore? These subconscious patterns, does this fit me, or can I let them go? So that could be coming online. There could be things that have been hidden to yourself that you're now becoming aware of and able to let go of. And perhaps it's regarding your beliefs around love and finances. Those are big ones where we carry a lot of belief systems from our childhood into our adulthood that aren't serving us anymore, and that we need to let go of. And so maybe that is coming into your awareness to be dealt with, and to build new value systems, especially as it relates to your relationships. Scorpio, sun, moon, and rising. So this is happening in your 6th house of health habits and routines, as well as your work, right? Our daily habits kind of rule over our work, how you serve others. So this axis of daily health habits and routines, and the house of subconscious patterns, self-sabotaging behavior, as well as how we rest. I think a lot of us don't really let ourselves rest. We're in this rat race and think that, there's something wrong with resting. But this is really more focusing on, the balance between those two. But with the moon, we're really highlighting the health habits and routines and your how you engage in that daily work. So those are being highlighted for you to look at. Are there changes you need to make in your health habits? Are you and your rest? Are there changes that you need to make in your work schedule? Are there changes that you may need to make in the type of work that you do? Are just focusing on your daily health habits and routines, and if there's anything that you can do there to improve your overall well-being. With the ruler of this full moon being in your second, in your house, your house of self, this is really a time to focus on yourself as well. With Mars being here, your ruler, like, you really are being asked to look at, like, how am I treating myself? Am I treating myself? Are my health routines as good as they should be? Are my work routines as good as they should be? How am I treating myself? And I now have the motivation with Mars to really dive deep and look at that and make adjustments as I need to, weed out what isn't serving me, and develop things that support me better. And with Mercury here, with new thoughts, ideas, communication, truths coming to light, this could be an internal thing coming to you, new ideas just coming fresh out. It could be, sudden intuition and things like that, especially with this being in your sign. This could, again, being like a lot of intuition, a lot of psychic ability perhaps coming online. But this information could also be stemming from your, is this 9th house? 8th house, of intimacy, finances. There could be, information coming in regarding your shared resources or intimacy and how willing you are to being intimate with yourself. Are you taking time to really journal and get to know yourself? And are you, how is your intimacy with others as well? There could be insights coming to you regarding those things. Or there could be insights coming to you regarding how you're showing up in the world, and your finances or relationships could be where information is coming from, since Venus is in Virgo, or this is the house of like friendships and social circles and things like that. So maybe there is information or communication happening from those groups of people that are having an impact on your self-identity. So that is it for you, Scorpio. Sagittarius, Sun, Moon, and Rising. This full moon is happening in your 5th house of joy, creativity, romance, desire, courage, love. I said romance, children. So this full moon is highlighting kind of this axis of your joys, your passions, your creativity, your how you like to be, and how you take that energy, how you take yourself and bring yourself and show yourself into the world. But really we're being asked to look at your side of that. Like, are you in touch with your joy? Are you in touch with your children? Are you, are you finding joy through your interactions with your children? How are you being creative? Do you need to make time for yourself to engage in your passions, to find your joy? Are you aware of what brings you joy? Those are things that you're being asked to look at during this full moon. And with the ruler of this full moon in your 12th house of subconscious patterns, hidden belief systems, and things like that. Are you taking, are there perhaps new passions coming into your awareness, perhaps, or subconscious patterns of, maybe you've always had this passion that you've wanted to go after, but you have this subconscious belief that was instilled into you when you were a kid about, oh, that's not a worthy passion to follow, perhaps like music or painting or something like that. And is that serving you, right? Can you allow yourself to be like, no, that's not serving me anymore. I want to take up those things and engage in those things that do bring me joy. It could be letting go of passions that you used to have that are no longer serving you, right? 12th house can also be a house of letting things go. And then with Mercury here, this is probably more of an internal thing, because 12th house is a very internal thing. So it's probably perhaps psychic abilities coming online, greater intuition, greater clarity from, bubbling up from within rather than external sources, about, your joy, your passion, your romance, your creativity, your children. It could be coming up from within, this new communication, new ideas, new sudden insights. Or with Mercury ruling Virgo in your 10th house, and Venus being here regarding love and money, perhaps there's insights coming to you regarding your career. Like 5th house is also entrepreneurship. So maybe you're like, my career, I don't really align with it anymore. Maybe I want to turn my passion into my career. Or maybe some of these thoughts that are coming online are in relation to your relationships. Maybe there's a partnership that is either not serving you and needs to be let go of, or a new one coming into your awareness, or just realizing how relationships have affected you in the past and how you may or may not need to change things in the future. Okay, so Capricorn, Sun, Moon, and Rising. This full moon is happening in your 4th house of home and family. So it is highlighting the axis of asking you to balance home and work. But you're really being asked at this full moon to focus more on the home side of things. So whether that is your home life or your emotional stability, the 4th house is also where we feel safe emotionally. It is also our ancestry, so you might be called to be focusing on those types of things. It's also our property. So those could be things that you are focusing on during this full moon, with the full moon being ruled by Mars, and Mars being in your 11th house of social circles, friends, acquaintances, groups that you belong to, how you show up in the world. Perhaps you're looking at how the groups and everything that you are involved in, how that affects your home, or maybe how close it is to your home, or, something regarding how you show up in the world and how it relates to your home. And you have the motivation to to deal with it. You have the motivation to really evaluate your friendships and see if it does support your home life. See if these relationships do support your emotional well-being, right? Fourth house emotion. Or maybe you're getting information from your friend groups, your social circles, getting information from, or ideas from them, or new communication from them that somehow pertains to your home life. And, again, maybe it's more of the emotional safety type information that's coming through. And then this information could also, since Mercury rules your ninth house, this could be just overall your value system that is coming into focus, because the ninth house deals with our belief systems, our higher education. Perhaps there's an opportunity to, go back to school through some friends or something like that that's coming online. Or maybe just, love and money is Venus, which is here in the ninth house. So maybe there's, maybe you're getting an opportunity in some type of higher education from friends, something, or travel opportunity that is related to your friend groups and your hopes and dreams. And 11th house is also hopes and dreams. So maybe new information is coming online from there, or from your 6th house of daily habits, routines, work, how we serve others. Maybe information is coming from here that's affecting your friend groups. Maybe a new opportunity in work, in serving others. Maybe a new opportunity in where you can volunteer, or how you can show up in the world. And now you've got to figure out how to build this into your routines. But you really want to go out into the world and do this. Those could be things coming online for you. Aquarius, sun, moon, and rising. This full moon is happening in your third house of communication, of travel. You're being asked to look at the balance of the third and ninth house, which is short distance travel versus long distance travel. This is also how we take in our information. Third house, ninth house, our belief systems, things like that. But with the full moon being in your third house, it's really how you are communicating out into the world, the types of information you're taking in. So this could be a time to really evaluate those things, what types of information you are, because there's so much information out in the world with social media, with news. We're bombarded with new things going on every day. Like, are you taking your mental health? Are you being aware of the types of information that you're allowing into your mind, as well as, this is communication and commerce and things like that. So perhaps how you're engaging with those things. That's really the focus of this. This also is the house of siblings. So there might be some focus there, as well as, like I said, travel, short distance travel. So perhaps there's something going on with your automobiles or something like that that you need to focus on during this time, or maybe you are traveling during this time. With the full moon ruler being in your 10th house of career, and this, being social media, maybe you are launching something, maybe you are having the the drive and the willpower to launch something on social media to make yourself be seen and heard. And then with Mercury here being at the 0 degrees, maybe there's new information, new opportunity coming in regards to your career, and how it relates to how you communicate with the world. Or this new information about your career and your public image could be coming from your 8th house, Virgo. So it could be coming from how intimate you are being with yourself, how intimate you are being perhaps with your viewers, if this is, that type of thing. So your finances and your relationships are really being highlighted with Venus here, and with your 10th house being activated. So there could be potentially new opportunities, new ideas coming online. Maybe, again, new psychic abilities or something. Maybe you're having sudden insights and intuition about your career and your public image. That could be happening. Or you could be this new ideas, new communication, new information surrounding your career could be coming from your 5th house of entrepreneurship, joy, creativity, romance, your children. Anything in those areas could be impacting, could be coming up, giving you ideas about your career and public image. And last but not least, Pisces, this full moon is happening in your 2nd house. So this full moon is really highlighting the balance on your financial axis of yours versus shared resources, but really you're focusing on your own resources during this full moon and your own value system, and where you're spending your time and money, taking a look at that and seeing if it really aligns with the things that you say you value. A lot of times we say we value things, but then if we look at what we're spending our time and our money on, it doesn't line up. So this is a good time to really look at that to see if that does line up or if you need to make adjustments there. With Scorpio being with Mars being the ruler of this, and that being in Scorpio in your 9th house of belief systems. This could be, belief systems around money coming up for you. This could be or 9th house is also travel. So perhaps there's some expenses that need to happen and related to travel. And then Mercury here having new information, new communication. Maybe this is also higher education. So maybe there's, a chance for you to attend take some type of higher education. And maybe these opportunities or this new idea is coming from your relationships. The Virgo areas, which is your relationships, or maybe it is this new information, new ideas are coming from your home. Maybe there's an opportunity to study at home, or maybe your home is going to be shifting so that you can travel, right? Maybe you're traveling away from home. Maybe there's a home study opportunity. Maybe your belief systems about your values and your home are changing, new information coming there. New information coming from your ancestry or your property or things like that, or maybe you're moving a long distance that you weren't expecting, this new information coming online. So those could be things that are coming up for you. For all signs, I would be super interested to hear how all of this does manifest for you. So leave a comment in the description box below. Let me know how this resonates. And I am launching a course. I should be recording the first video home soon. It's Your First Astrology Course, taking you from simply how to pull up your birth chart to deciphering all the, crazy symbols and things like that and read the language of astrology, to understanding the planets, the houses, the signs, kind of how to put it all together, and then how to take these readings, like if I weren't to go through this sign by sign, how to take these overall horoscope readings and apply them to your own chart. So I want to take you basically from zero to listening to horoscopes and understanding how to apply them to your own life so that you can get the most benefit possible out of the astrology that you are listening to and following. Link for that will be in the description box below. I also am starting a Patreon membership where each month I will cover a new topic of astrology and what things mean and how they show up in your life, and how they apply to a birth chart. And then each month you'll get a 20-minute reading, natal chart reading on whatever topic we're covering that month, how it shows up in your chart and what it means for you. So if that is something that you'd like to sign up for, the link for that will be in the description box below. Otherwise, hit the subscribe button so you can be made aware of when I come back and do more videos. I hope you have a wonderful full moon. And again, leave some comments in below about how this comes out for you. And I would be fascinated to hear with how you're dealing with this energy. Thanks, and have a great day.